right. Hello, all. I hope you can hear me. So, this is my first live stream. Not really sure how it is working, but looks like the chat is on. And I have a question from Wiz with Whipple. And that is, do you feel like learning cloud platforms such as GCP, Azure are important for Tableau developer jobs? If yes, which one should I prefer among? So, for a Tableau developer job, in my view, uh, many times it happens that your data is stored in a cloud, and if your data is stored in a cloud, good chances are that these are the platforms that you may have, like the GCP or Azure or AWS, as these are the most prominent one. And there are a couple others, like I think you have Alibaba and all, which usually we hear. So having an understanding goes in a long way about how you can use it. But generally, what I've seen is, like back in the day, in one of my job, we were using the Redshift as the data set or the database, sorry, which was into AWS, right? And generally, the case is that if we are working as data analyst or Tableau developer, right, whose primary job is to make sure the visualization and the data analysis and the dashboard is created. Having this understanding goes in, from my perspective, having the understanding of these platforms should be a basic understanding in terms of how you can fetch the data, how you can create that connection string and things like those. In-depth understanding completely depends on your choice. Like if you really want to have a deep understanding and there is no end to it, but for a Tableau developer, in a nutshell, you should have a basic understanding of the databases which are in there. Like I was using Redshift back in the day, which was having the interface of that PostgreSQL, where we used to just connect and fetch the data for the Tableau data analysis. So hopefully that is understandable. As to basic understanding of these platform will go in a long way. Preference, my preference will be AWS. Is something which mostly it's being used, right? So if I tell you in terms of priority as well, AWS, Azure, and GCP is just my opinion based on my understanding of how I have seen work is being performed into the organization, either mine or the based on my conversation with my colleagues in different as they're working in different organization. Okay, which is the and Jay, you are asking what about ClickView jobs? Well, ClickView jobs have moved from ClickView to ClickSense. To be honest, reason being is even Click as a company, I think they are not updating ClickView. I went to the Click site couple of days back. Still, I think the version that they are having is ClickView 12, which was around even 5 or 6 years back, right? So the way they are promoting or marketing it is you should move from ClickView to ClickSense, right? And if we talk about from not the ClickView jobs, I think those are old and probably very less jobs, to be very honest. ClickSense, a good number of jobs, and usually an organization. I have seen this question multiple times. What should I learn? Should I learn Tableau? Should I learn Power BI? Should I learn ClickSense? And in the organization, the way I have seen it multiple times, every tool is present. You will find Tableau, you will find Power BI, you will find ClickSense. Then the question is, why is this possible, or how is this possible? Well, this is possible because and in an organization, and when I'm talking about organization, by the way, I'm talking about an organization which is having 10,000 plus employees, because that's usually the organization I have worked, right? Not about an organization which is 500 employees or 1,000 employees. That can be very very specific and limited. But when an organization grows from let's say 1,000 to 10,000, whenever the 10,000 plus, you have multiple departments in it, right? And it is the departmental choice. Even in today's organization where I work, I see that there is a Tableau. I see we have Power BI as well, And these are the two ones which I usually see. But I'm pretty sure that there will be one or the other department who will be using ClickSense or the other or the any other tool, right? So so depends on in which company and in which within that company in which department you land in, you will going to find it. And in my previous job, right? If you are not connected to my LinkedIn, you can. And over there in my previous job, I see that back in 2013, I started with ClickView. Then my department went from ClickView to another tool. So in my journey of 8 years, I basically had to go through four different tools, right? So it's an ongoing evolution. It's like basically multiple teams or multiple leaders comes, they have a choice, depends on what they want to look at, and company makes a transition. But all in all, at the end of the day, what I usually see is these are the three tools which I mostly see as the one which is the leading tool. Even in the Gartner metric, if you have seen, these are the leading tools which usually companies employing. And Tableau we see as a leader, ClickSense we see as a leader, and I think Power BI lastly I saw as a challenger, if I'm not wrong, or maybe as a leader. I can't really recollect. But these are the three ones who are really the leader in their job. So they have the jobs, I believe. I see that, and there are a couple of platforms like Indeed, Monster, or Naukri.com, or depends on what your location is, where is the preference is. You can actually look at it, but the jobs are out there because even in case of ClickSense, there are 50,000 plus companies who are using ClickSense, and I keep getting questions on my email every day. So hopefully that answers. Okay, I'll take the next one. How to enroll your Tableau Advanced course? Drop me an email. My email have been flashed on all of my videos. That is Abhishek ABHISHEK dot AGARRWAL at the rate gmail.com. Right. And yes, basic knowledge is must file. So you should have the basic knowledge. Otherwise, you won't find any value because I go very fast and I don't cover any basic, because basics is something which I've already done on my Tableau. So this is just to make you an expert when it comes to Tableau advanced functionality, date calculations, some different functions which you will find it useful while working with the business dashboard. And my focus is only on business dashboard because that's my forte. I have been creating business dashboard from so many years, and that's what I do. So so yeah, if you are good with basics, just drop me an email. I'll tell you all the details. I have worked in ClickSense and SQL. So this is from Udesh. I really like the name, by the way. I've heard it very first time. And so the question is, I have worked in ClickSense and SQL. I want to switch to data analyst. Please guide. Okay. I have worked in ClickSense and SQL. Well, if you have worked in ClickSense and SQL, you already have an orientation or you already have a good understanding of data as to what the data is, what is the data granularity, at what level you need to group the data. That all basically goes in. But data analysis is a different sort of beast altogether, or a different type of skill, because you need to know not just the way of maintaining grouping modeling, but also about data analysis techniques, like for example, what is variance, when you will going to use standard deviation, when you will going to use the average, median, mode, and correlation metric, Pareto charts, and then obviously a lot of different techniques when it comes to more and more. But generally, not to scare you or not to scare everyone who is here, generally 90% of the time you will see that in any company it starts from finding the average, finding the sum, or finding the median, right? Generally people even don't know that what is the difference between median and average, and that's where the data analysis skills really comes in as to what to choose, and that's what they expect. And it goes to finding correlation. Very rarely you will see. And standard deviation, I've never seen anyone talked about it in my 15 years. So depends on, again, if you are landing in a data science sort of a department, then you will find it. But a normal data analyst day in day out job is to prepare the report, finding the average, weighted average, differentiating and basically telling it Pareto sort of analysis, like what are the reason of 80% of the problems that you are having, or for example, 80% of revenue is coming from your 20% of sources. Those type of things, very very basic and general skills which you need to have. I just replied to one of the email I received on this topic. I gave like 5 steps. I will just read that 5 steps for you, which is over here. So what I just advised was, so number one thing, you need to enroll. So I'm reading it directly from the email which I replied 5 minutes back. Enroll in a class that teaches you both data analysis and Excel. Keeping in mind, you don't even know the Excel, right? If you are completely beginner, upskill yourself by developing data analysis reports and dashboards. That is where you will get to know what technique to use, what data analysis technique to use. And then you need, third step will going to be the learn the BI tool like Tableau, Power BI. I recommend Tableau because I find it comparatively more easy whenever it comes to the beginner, right? And you replicate whatever you learned in the Excel for data analysis, replicate into the Tableau. That will help you understanding Tableau. During your journey, you should have a good understanding of Tableau functionalities, like what are the table calculations, dual axis charts, parameters, calculated fields, actions, uh, combining everything into a dashboard, right? All of this thing you should know. So, and finally, for the data analysis in the organization today, Python and R has been used primarily. So you should know about Python for data analysis, and this generally usually takes around 6 to 12 months. Depends on your expertise level. So hopefully that answer. But if there is any specific, you write your question again. So I have chosen ClickSense. It is right path for at least next years. Well, if you have chosen the path and you are determined and having an expertise, then yes, this is, any path is a good path. When I say any path, I mean either you have chosen Power BI, Tableau, or ClickSense, because I'm being very very specific to the BI tools, right? Reason for this is these tools are in a leadership sort of domain when it comes to when it comes to companies choosing what tools that you go. So if you have really decided you have an expertise, I think there are no issues in terms of whether another 5 years or 10 years. Reason for this is every tool has a competitive advantage when it comes, like some of the functionalities which you will find in ClickSense, you will not at all find it in the Power BI and Tableau, and same goes with rest of the two tools, right? So everyone has one or the other competitive advantage, and they keep upgrading their tools, right? So you need to just continue upgrading it. Even today, I know many people, those who don't know anything about these tools, they have chosen their path maybe 10 or 20 years back, Excel or Microsoft Excel. Even today, they are still relevant into the industry because we know how widely Excel as a tool is used. So similar to this, while these tools are not as widely used as Excel, but still they have a relevance. So if you have chosen the path, I don't see any issue from my perspective for another 5 or 10 years, like you have asked. So it should be good. But the whole idea is you need to have an expertise, right? And continue evolving your skills. What else to do to become a data analyst using Tableau, SQL, and Python? Well, keeping the tools aside, right? If we think about these tools, very commonly, not just me, everyone else is advising this, right? But having a good understanding and interpretation of the data is very very important when it comes to data analysis. I have seen many data analysts who are really good in terms of producing the report. They can create all the jazzy and flashy dashboards. Even I can create it. But finding the meaning from the data, about how do you interpret from the data, is very, very important, right? And this skill is very rare. So there are companies who in interview really ask, how, what action do you suggest a company should take to, or a management should know from this report? And that is something, finding a meaning from the data, or doing the data interpretation, and giving the conclusion in the form of analytical commentary. Okay, so that's what it is called, analytical commentary. That is something you should basically know, apart from knowing these tools, as to how would you interpret your own analysis, right? So that is one. And another thing which I just recalled is the flow of information. Again, this is more about from the mindset of those who create good reports as to how do you structure your analysis is also very, very important for a data analyst. That first I need to answer this question, then I need to expand to next level, then I expand to the next level, and finally showing the conclusion in 3 or 4 steps, right? And then you do a data interpretation and write the commentary about it. So that's something we data analysts should know when it comes to apart from knowing the Tableau, Python, or SQL. Okay, I'll take the next question, and this is from Mohammed Munstashirul Haq. Hopefully, I'm reading your name correctly. I'm working as a BI developer using Power BI. Okay, how to get remote job like USA or any other country? Can you advise me? Well, very interesting question. Couple of websites we already know. There is this Fiverr, Upwork, where you can put your data analyst portfolio. Even I think freelancer.com, which is quite old right now and still relevant today. And apart from this, the way I have seen that, how would you going to get the remote job is by creating your a presence on the social media, right? So what I meant by that, well, what I meant by that is you need to have, first of all, a good expertise if you want a remote job, right? Then your portfolio should be visible to platforms like LinkedIn, where most of the professionals are present, right? Or Twitter with the relevant hashtags, right? Facebook, I don't know, I don't see it too much relevant from this perspective, but at least LinkedIn, Upwork, and Twitter is a good place to go. And then basically you need to have a list of companies who are remote first company. There are companies who are working as a proper office type of environment. There are companies who promote both office and hybrid, and there are companies which are only remote. Very recently, I have been approached by a company that is completely remote. Their idea is that they don't want any office space. They want liberty, that people should be able to work from wherever they want. So there are companies who are remote only, right? So you need to have a list, right, of those companies, and basically try and keep basically going to their website as to what kind of opportunities that are coming. But more important from that is you need to have your portfolio, and that is visible, need to be visible onto the especially LinkedIn and Twitter, what I feel. And lastly, what I recommend is also the websites like stackoverflow.com, or related, I think there is Stack Abuse or something, where people post a lot of questions. And I have seen, while I have reviewed some of the question, or I posted my own question back in the day, I've seen that there are also remote jobs. So for the remote jobs, you need to create an inventory like this. You need to have a good portfolio, and that should basically help you. That in my perspective, based on in my experience, I have seen, right? So hopefully that gives some pointers to move into a direction. Okay, next I'll take it from Bimal, and that is, can a non-tech guy without any coding experience learn AWS or Azure? I am PL 300 certified without any tech experience. Guide me a path to succeed. Well, a basic understanding of, there are two things. Okay, I mean there are ways in which you want to have a basic understanding as to how these software or how these technologies really work, and then working in these technologies like as a developer and as an administrator. In both these cases, if you are from a non-tech background and you want to go in there, no issues. Reason for this is that most of these technologies have become so much automated that today, if I want to configure a server, I don't have to do anything. There are certain set of steps which I just need to follow, and I will be able to configure the server or configure the technology that I need. So, because these technologies have become so much sophisticated, a non-tech person can very well go into this direction as to learning these tools like AWS or Azure, which is cloud-based platform, and get it out. Now, apart from configuration, the next step is depends on where you want to go. For example, you want to go into the SQL side of the things. If you are configuring SQL and you want to go in depth into that, then again, two paths: you want to be an administrator or you want to be an developer. In case of a developer, you need to go a lot more into the tech skills. But in case of an administrator, you need to be more on to the side of configuration and understanding of the thing. So my understanding basically says that if you are on administrator side of the things, there will be a less and less coding and more understanding of configuration, which what I find is comparatively easy for non-tech person background. However, if you are into the SQL coding sort of a thing, then you go in depth into that. So depends on how do you want to go, but for sure, you a non-tech person can very easily learn this these technologies because they have become very sophisticated. Hopefully, that helps you. So Manoj, I'll take the next question from you. I am Power BI developer looking to learn Tableau. What is the best source? Well, there are couple of things that you can do. There is already a beginner-friendly video course for free onto the Tableau website, right? Which starts from basics and take it to the next level. On my site, right, I have YouTube videos again on a similar path, but explaining with a same or different sort of a functionality, sometimes at a high level or sometimes at an in-depth level. So take any of the course that you have. I recommend go to that Tableau website and at least start learning from there because that is the most beginner friendly for someone who is really starting Tableau, and then look for some advanced or some dashboard related tutorials as to how finally you, after learning Tableau basics, how will you build the basic dashboards into the Tableau, and that should basically help it. So because you are a powered BI developer, you should not find much of a challenge, but start from there and then work on the projects, and that should be I think good for you. Okay, Sumit, what will be your recommendation for an organization which is a SAP shop, where is SAP Business Objects and SAC placed, which are the go-to BI tool, SAP ERP as a source? So yeah, SAP ERP as a source or a SAP shop is there. Generally, SAP recommend business objects. I have seen that in one of the companies I have worked. There was this tool. However, the way I have seen the companies are transitioning into modern tools, these business objects, or back in the day, I think there was this thing from Cognos and couple of other BI tool. They have become really bulky and not so user friendly when it comes to the developers of today or audience of today, right? So these are the transitions. Some of these companies are making a transition and transitioning into tools like again Power BI. Depends on the choice. Power BI, ClickSense, comparatively good from both data modeling and dashboard creation perspective because both the functionality you find in one tool. Tableau, not so much when it comes to business objects or Cognos based tools to these ones. But looks to me personally at my level, what I am seeing is that Power BI is becoming more and more preferred choice when it comes to transitioning from these old generation tools to a new generation tool like Power BI. So that is where I see how the shift is happening. Again, this is what I am seeing based on some of the conversations or some of the things that I am seeing. It may be different for a different company, but that's where I see how it is going. So, and then SAP based ERP as a source. So, which are the go-to BI tool if you have SAP-based ERP as a source? So, go-to BI tool. So the thing is, whenever you have a source, right? It's never you in a environment of a business like who is having a good presence. Again, 10,000 plus employees is a benchmark which I am taking it. They never help. They will never basically, or you will never find that you are connecting to the data sources directly. There are always layers, multiple layers in between, and the final output you will going to get is probably from one or the other database, but directly not from the source. Is something I have never seen that somebody is connecting to the source directly. So even irrespective of whatever source you have, whether it is SAP as a source, Oracle as a source, because Oracle has different modules where transactional data is coming. So after the processing, whatever data set in which it is coming, it may be again from Oracle, it can be Snowflake, it can be anyone, right? PostgreSQL and things like those. So, but you will going to connect with the data set, never with the source. And whenever it comes to connecting to any of the database source, then it can be any tool. It doesn't really matter. You can go with Power BI, you can go with Tableau. Every tool today is sophisticated enough, which has 50 plus connections already configured for you. You can simply go and connect to these data sources or these databases. So hopefully that clarifies some of the things as to when, how, you never be able to connect to any source, but from an output like in a database or something. How I find data analyst, how I find data analyst job where company asking for experience is Power BI, Excel, and SQL is enough, or I have to learn Python to start the data analyst? Well, I have just answered this before, and again, I'll just reiterate. Never start with Python. Whenever you are starting learning data analysis, whenever as a beginner you are starting the data analysis, always have two things in the mind. Number one, you need to know about the data concepts, like what different types of data you can have, what are the analysis that you can create. Like I just explained, you can find the aggregations can be sum, minimum, average, median, and maximum. Quartiles is ones, standard deviation, correlation, and all of those techniques. And then there are ways within Excel to achieve these techniques, right? So understanding of techniques and then doing it in Excel is what I consider is the first step. After that, I suggest that you should move on to data visualization or a BI tool. Like I recommend for a beginner is Tableau, because comparatively easy, right? And then you move on to, once you have spent a good time, right? Then only I think you should move on to the Python, because within the Python you have to write each and everything as a code on your own. Even if you have to create a bar chart, you have to write at least a 4 line of code, like importing the library and then what kind of configuration you want. Also, it may be a scenario that you may have to do a little bit of a data modeling to create a bar chart, which is comparatively very easy either in spreadsheet or in Tableau, right? So Python will always going to be the last step, but companies who ask for an experience, uh, definitely if you don't have, that will be difficult for you to go, but you can still, but what I suggest is you still build your data analyst portfolio to tell them whether, if you don't have a real life business experience, but you have got a good understanding of how the business dashboards or how the business analysis is being done, and here is my portfolio, right? If you are able to convince them that yes, you have got the skills, I think you still have a good chance to attend and pass their interview. But you need to have the good data analyst portfolio and good understanding of business analysis techniques. I think that's what my take would be when it comes to, and the reason I'm saying it is because I I do the blogging, as you all know, and I look at different types of sources. I go to I go to these websites a lot, which is, for example, public.tableau.com, where you find a lot of a lot of innovative solutions, right? And my inspiration, a lot of my dashboard inspiration, which either I use it in a work or use it in a for my YouTube, comes from there. Many times I have shown you how I have basically taken a dashboard and created it again step by step. So many of these guys, right? who are only still a student is creating an amazing work. And definitely, if tomorrow is an opportunity, I would really like to go and talk to them, to join my company as a fresher or my department as a fresher. And it is because I am seeing their work, right? So that basically goes to so many people who are out there on LinkedIn or in Twitter, like I said earlier. If you are showcasing your portfolio, people have an interest. People have interest in, let's say, reports. People have interest in statistics, visualizations, data analysis. If you put it with these relevant hashtags, the information is always flashed to them, and they will get to know if your work is interesting and eye catching. Very, very important. If it is eye catching, you have a very good chance that you may land in a good job where people are looking. When people are really looking at that stuff, it can be the manager of the company, it can be just an analyst of that company. It whole idea is that you are basically marketing yourself with your work. So hopefully that should answer. And then so Med, what will be okay? I have covered that. Chat, Tiwari, I have covered. Okay, WebHub, is PL 300 enough for migrating click application to Power BI dashboard? I have no idea about that. I have not seen that, so I won't be able to make any recommendation over there because in my case I have not done that migration. So I am really sorry about this piece. Next, I'll take it. Gokul, I want to know more about what is rolling 12 months in Tableau. Well, again, a data analysis technique, right? So usually, rolling 12 months, rolling 6 months, rolling 18 months is basically an idea when you are in a business setting. You basically move from 1 month or 1 week or 1 quarter to another quarter, right? So that means what you are basically saying, if I have moved, right now it is March, right? So if I moved from March to April, and if I go back from April to 12 months back, that basically is your rolling 12 months. And in those rolling 12 months, does your statistic change drastically? Generally, what I have seen is rolling 12 months is a good example. Rolling, what I remember is rather than rolling, in some companies it is used trailing 12 months, like TTM. I remember that as well as how it is being used. So the whole idea is to look at the last 12-month statistic as we are progressing, and whether it is deviating a lot or not. For example, the number of customer acquisition has been changed in rolling last 12 months, or how it has been rolling last 12 months, right? So that way you basically create an analysis for the management. So you can have rolling 12 months, rolling 4 quarter, rolling 12 weeks, 13 weeks. 13 weeks is nothing, just 1 quarter. Again, it's all about what type of analysis is being requested by your team or department. Navneet, you are saying, I think you should start a project series in Power BI like you have. Yes, I'm in a process. I have already done with, I think, 2 dashboards. I am not able to find much time, but yes, this is on my radar. I will do that. This is because I know that this is where how everyone is moving, and that should be useful for others. So stay tuned. Maybe in a couple of weeks more I will going to take for sure, because of my office work and all. I rarely able to find some time right now, but hopefully I will be able to find some time during weekends and try to create those dashboard. But I think 2 I have already done. I still need to do 8 more. So once it is done, recorded, I will send it out. Please mash up session using React.js. I have actually moved on from ClickSense around, I don't know, 2016 or 17, right? So this is part of how what is being used by my company, and I have been sort of focused more on there, right? And up until like 2016 or 17, I was using this, and that is a reason, I have not done much work recently, and I will not be able to go back and resume my learning right now for sure, right? So this is something I won't be able to do. At least I won't be able to take up what I can see in near future side. So really sorry about that. Srishti, I'll take you. Thank you. I'm glad you are finding the videos really useful. Sorry. How to not get nervous during an interview? I got rejected last month from being for not being confident, but I answered all the technical question well. Yes, this is more of a psychological thing for sure. Confidence is important thing. I mean, uh, it goes without saying that if you those who are confident, and even if they are answering wrong, sometimes because of their confidence they are able to win the other person's heart, right? The way I was in your situation back in 2008, I was preparing for shifting my career from my hometown to something which is much more like an MNC base. So I was preparing for something nearby to which was my hometown. Near to that, we had Gurgaon, Noida, and all of those places. So I was preparing for these companies, and yes, I was facing this issue, and I recall as to how I overcome that right back in the day. So exactly the same thing I will going to share with you. I used to ask questions to myself when I was preparing for these interviews, keeping in mind that I am basically having these questions from the interviewer and how I am replying to that, because you are the best judge of your skills, right? You need to be honest for yourself. I was honest with myself, and I was improving on after asking the question whether I know this or not. The way you will see that it looks funny when you initially see that, but it becomes really really serious when you think yourself as an interviewer and you keep asking yourself the next level question, and then you really see how convincingly you are able to answer that question to yourself, and then you can basically tell whether something you are sort of answering this or not. So two benefit will going to happen. Number one, uh, at least in my view, I was able to gain confidence. I could really see, if I look back, when I gave the first interview, I, in first initial couple of interviews I was rejected, and I continuously prepared for it. I still remember that in 2007 September, I started preparing for, or I started giving the interviews, right? I completed a course called SAS, Statistical Analysis System, at that time. That was the course I did to shift my career from what I was doing to next level for 2 or 3 months. That finished in August. I started giving the interview in September. Faced the difficulty till December. I was rejected in multiple interviews, but this technique, what I enrolled, I basically took for myself. Whatever questions were being asked into the interview, I took the hint from them and I kept asking those questions to me. That basically helped me gain the confidence that next time if the same question is coming, I will be more and more confident, or I will be confident in giving the answer. The confidence usually not come when you are not sure what the person will going to ask in the who is sitting in front of you as an interviewer. Obviously there is always a nervousness that you will be rejected and all, but if you already have practiced it multiple times, I think a lot of nervousness will be removed, and you will land into a job. So that would be my 2 cents as to what I did to myself. And in December I finally got the job after 3 months, multiple rejections. And after that, I have been into the job, and I have been rejected after that also multiple times. So rejection is a part of the game, right? We cannot avoid, but we can overcome that by applying this technique, as to especially when we are landing in a job, this becomes important. So I can feel your pain, but hopefully this would help this would help you in overcoming your fear or nervousness. I have total 14 years of experience. So that's the next question. I have 14 years of experience in IT, 5 plus year experience in Tableau development and server admin, but not in depth. Could you please guide me career wise? Right. So the way I see that you got both the development and server admin, right? And overall 14 plus years of experience. So whole idea is this again comes to our passion. For example, uh, after joining my after joining a company in 2008, again I'm giving my example. In after 1.5 year I found my passion in my work, like what I really enjoy even doing on weekend, right? For example, today is a Friday. Uh, I have a off from my company, and even I'm doing that, right? So this is my passion, right? Even during the weekend, I do the blogging. So this is my passion. That means nobody is really forcing me. So I need to. You also need to really figure it out. What do you really enjoy? Do you really enjoy doing Tableau dashboard development and the visualization, the analysis, the findings really interest you, or you find a joy in configuration, doing the configuration, solving the enterprise level issues and things like those. Each has its own passion, right? So if you have this thing in this thing as a career or as a passion that you want to solve more of an enterprise level problem by doing the server level configuration, and you want to go very much in depth in that, then probably you are better off over there. But if your passion and your passion and your experience is more, and you think you are more towards the data analysis, you want to look at a lot of different types of data set, you find a fun in that, like I find a fun in that, then I think you should choose that. But that's what I would say. I mean, both of these things are important, and as a career you will find it benefit in both of them. It's just that where is your passion at the end of the day. I had no passion in server configuration, or I had no passion in the backend administration management. Even today, there are issues like data is not working or this is not working, and I just don't care about that, right? My focus is, if I need to do an analysis, you need to give me the data, and that is a IT job, right? I just clearly, defined a boundary for myself, because my own work when it comes to analysis is so much that I cannot really bother about another person paying. So, keeping that in mind, we have to find a boundary, we have to find a passion. From that passion, we have to find a boundary, and we need to continue moving it on there. We cannot really have two different mind as to whether we want to do this or that. So, hopefully, that helps. If your passion is server side, go on there, learn about everything, learn about Tableau related stuff on the cloud environment. How would you do the kind of configuration and stuff like those? But if you're on passion on the other side, data visualization, dashboarding, data analysis, and all that, just be focused on that, and you will find a fruitful career for sure. Okay, with that, Dr. Webhub, what's your advice on certification like PL 300 in BI domain? Let me search that. What is PL? I think I have not seen that PL 300. Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst. I see what you are saying. I have not reviewed this. The name itself is new, because I am not I am not very much focused. I know the last certification I did was for the click view, right? And I did it so passionately that I could just finish 2 hour exam. I could finish it in like 1 hour 15 minutes, and I learned a lot from that, right? Because it's a worry, or it's a thing that you have in your mind, like nervousness question, right? That you have to pass that exam. But coming back to the PL 300, let me review this. Okay, let me review it properly as to what it gives. Right. I know there are certifications, and this becomes like a benchmark that a skill really well when it comes to doing a work in an organization. But right now, I have very less or minimal to no understanding of this. And let me get back to you. I don't know even I've ever seen this. So I will cover in the next session. I'm planning that I will keep this session on a weekly basis on weekends. Right now I'm doing on Friday because it's an off, but hopefully in future I'll probably do it on Saturdays or Sundays. Okay. So sorry about this. I'm not able to answer, but I will for sure look into it because I think second or third time I'm looking at this PL 300. All right, next question. How to know you are skilled enough in SQL? Where to start and stop? Well, that is something, stopping is something, at least I have not seen that. It's like an ever evolving thing when it comes to technology. You not just SQL. If you take anything as simple as I will say Microsoft Excel, right? Every time there is a new problem, developers are submitting new ideas because they are finding a challenge in doing one thing. Companies are taking those ideas and implementing it into their software and improving it. So it becomes an ever evolving thing. But uh, where we can really say that we have become a mature developer can be the right question, probably, in my view, right? When I say mature developer, that means we understand the situation, and with the based on the situation, we are able to develop a solution, right? So, how do you know you are skilled enough in SQL? Where to start and stop? So SQL is one place where I have a limited understanding. When I say limited understanding, I had done only work which is more about fetching the data or doing a group by and those types of things to fetch the data and produce the visualization and things like those. But in any industry, irrespective of whether you have Excel, whether you have SQL, whether you have Tableau, the maturity is that you have a solution, or sorry, you have a problem in front of you, which business is giving you, right? And looking at the business problem, if let's say you are able to suggest them that yes, this is something what can be done within the Tableau, that can be one way. That means you have an expert level understanding in Tableau or SQL whether this can be done or not, or you give an answer like, "Hmm, this is challenging, I really need to see and go back whether this can be done or not," right? And if you are giving that, that means there is a scope of improvement still. You need to go a more steps towards to a level. And then finally, you are able to dictate that something is really possible or not possible. So when you see yourself in a position where you can dictate very conveniently and you have an expert opinion onto the table, right? That's where I see that you have reached to a maturity, to a level that yes, it can be done or it cannot be done. For example, today if somebody will ask me, right, whether I can do something in Tableau or not when it comes to the dashboard development, again, not on server side or anything, but on the dashboard development, I am able to very convincingly say that yes, whether this can be done and this cannot be done, right? And this confidence or this maturity comes over a period of time when you have looked at various different scenarios. Okay, so this is what I say. If you are in a stage where you can dictate the terms, you are good. But if you are not, if you are finding a challenge, or you have an answers like, I let me go back and look into it, then it becomes it feels like there is still a room of improvement. So hopefully that should give you the answers about when you feel like you have reached to a maturity stage. Okay, portfolio project ideas related to SQL. Um, what I can do, I have a very good friend, but he's also again on the admin side, so not I can get into it. But like I said, I'm not into the SQL that much, where I can suggest the portfolio project ideas, right? So right now I have no answer, but I can get some answer for you. Let me write it down. This question. I know PL300 is something I have written it down, and SQL portfolio project is something I can write it down, and maybe in the next session I can clarify this as a follow up questions from this session. After that, IT, and how can I get a job as a data analyst? This is something which I covered a few minutes back. Well, usually 4 to 5 steps is something you need to take. You need to obviously learn the data analysis techniques plus Excel, take all of that learning into a BI tool like Tableau, and then get good understanding of the BI tool plus Excel over a period of 3 to 6 months. Develop your portfolio project and showcase your portfolio project onto the websites like LinkedIn or Twitter with the relevant hashtags, right? That should help you get a job as a data analyst. So method have changed. We know already historical method you can go and apply to multiple job site, but these are the new methods with which you are directly interacting with those who are into the companies, right? So that would be my advice. Since I have covered it earlier very much in detail, that's why I have gone really fast here onto this. I'm a fresher and past 2 months learning Tableau, create 5 dashboards. Should I move on to learn Python now? I would say created 5 dashboard is, I don't know what is being created. It would be good if you can share maybe uh, the portfolio project if you have published on Tableau Public. That would be really helpful to know your skill level. But my view, look at what is already present on the Tableau Public, and assess those dashboards which is highlighted on the first page of the Tableau Public, and compare your own dashboard. Have you reached to nearby to that level or up to that level? If you have reached up to that level, I feel like go and learn something new like Python. But if you have not, if you see that you are either nowhere near, little bit near, but still not there, I see that you own in over there, or you hone in your skills over there, and focus more on one technology before moving on to distraction, because every technology is good. Tableau has its own advantage, Python has its own advantage, SQL has its own advantage, right? Job you will going to get is based on one or the another technology, right? Based on the expertise. Over a period of time, you can have expertise on multiple technologies, right? But when you are starting, I think my view, my opinion, focus on one, have a good understanding, and then move on to the something new. Okay, I'll take the next one. Abhishek, I'm working as ClickSense developer, but I'm too nervous while creating dashboard. How to improve that, and how to improve my dashboarding skills? No problem, Rajat. You go and look at I mentioned this website, public .tableau.com, right? There are a lot of very good developers that are there, and I can give some very specific names as well. So that is one of the developer is Pradeep. If I'm yeah, Pradeep G, G as Ganga, I would say. And this guy has created a lot of amazing dashboard. Even I take the inspiration from that dashboard as to what really a standard dashboard really look like. So whole idea is this, that we take the inspiration from those who have really reached to that skills and improve our skills. That is something what I have done when I started learning it, and I am recommending it to you. After you know that how all the objects have been put together, what is their flow, filters, and stuff like that, you will soon overcome to that nervousness. So go to that, and that should help you improving your dashboarding skills. Even on ClickSense, I see that they have the dashboards, but I don't find it very interesting, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion. Thank you for sharing all the videos. I am BI solution architect in US, switches between many BI tools. Thank you, and I'm glad that I'm able to help you. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. And next one. Hi, sir. I have a question. How to explain a Tableau project to an interview? Which part should I include? So that's an interesting one because everyone, including me, right? I have to explain my project to an interviewer, right? So if I think about this, I see a couple of steps in my mind. So that is, first of all, I would not jump to simply explaining about the dashboard or the functionalities. I will first talk about the business problem. Okay, they expect us to know the business problem, right? Based on the business problems, what was the requirements that was given to us? Based on those requirements, how we have created each component which was justifying the requirement, and then after creating those components, how we have put it together in a dashboard is, from my side, is a four-step approach which you should take. Now I just summarized all of this in like 2 minutes, but these four steps you should really practice it before giving it to the interviewer as to what, uh, how much you want to speak about those. For example, business problem, probably not more than 30 seconds. If you are able to explain your problem within 30 seconds, that means you have a good grasp on that. For example, we want to understand why a particular region is having a loss or why our sales are going down. 10 seconds, not beyond that, right? If you have a complex situation like we have launched a new product but that was not performing in a particular territory, so we wanted to understand, or management wanted to understand as to what are the factors, maybe 15, 20 seconds, right? So it should not go beyond this. Very, very concise and specific. And then what you did after that, based on the requirements, and then visualization and to the dashboard is your way to go. Okay, what's next? I have how to explain a Tableau project. Okay. Um, Crack data analyst role immediately in my own resume project. If I perform all the project without dashboard creation, in my own resume projects, if I perform all the project without dashboard creation, it will work for me to get a job. Well, uh, data analyst role, you need to have I would not say uh, all the dashboard should be to a perfect stage, but you need to have a good portfolio project. If not on Tableau, then maybe your own, maybe GitHub, as can be one of the open source platform where you can put your projects, right? Also, so I was going in another dimension, but let me just come back. Uh, but for a job role, right? If you are a data analyst, there will always be two aspects. One is how well you know the data analysis techniques, and second is how well you have implemented those into your choice of tool, and as is it something you can show. And like I have been saying multiple times, this is something you should keep showing on social platforms like LinkedIn. There is this is everyone has moved on to a new modern way of finding a job. I can even talk about myself. My last two jobs, right, is from the LinkedIn. So there is no hidden thing from the LinkedIn. There are professionals out there. Networking goes in a long way, and if you showcase your work properly on Twitter and LinkedIn, you will going to get it. But you need to show your skills. Okay. What else? Hmm. Explain Tableau project, crack a data analyst, and then in resume project, can I just mention like pull the data from database, perform? Nope, you cannot. In resume projects, this is the resume project is something to showcase your outcome, not the process. My view again. Reason for this is, if I, as a hiring manager, right, I hire people all the time. If I, as a hiring manager, is looking at your portfolio project, I want to see what you have really done, right? What does really the report title or the dashboard title looks like? What are the visualization that you have created? to the visualization, what are the customization that you have given, things like those. So a final outcome, this thing will not going to work. This thing will only going to work when I am inviting you onto the table to give the interview, right? So these are the things to speak about it, but not to mention in your Tableau, not to mention your data analyst projects. All right. Can I? But one thing in resume projects, so I want to be also clear about that. That when we have to show the projects, this is the final outcome. But within the resume, right? Within the resume, if you are mentioning your projects, right, then these steps can be written. I mean, you can write it as to you have done or you have pulled the data from multiple sources, you have done these critical steps for cleaning, and finally EDA and the production of report or production of dashboard. Can I do that to get a data analyst job immediately? Well, that is something completely outside of everyone's hand, right? How I have seen it, immediately can be very subjective thing, right? It can be within this week, within this month, within this 3 months, and things like those. So, I would I don't know how well to say this, but getting a job really directly correlates to how well you showcase your work. As it goes as simple as that, as to how well you are visible with your work, right, on onto the social media platform, like the one I have been saying, and that should help you get the job as soon as possible. Again, immediately, which is completely outside of hands, right? But yes, I I would just compare to what where I was in 2008. I used to keep on applying to or 2007 when I started looking for a better job. I kept on applying the websites like Naukri or Monster and things like those, or directly to the company's website. But today's it has completely changed. It's all about showcasing your work, how well you know the things, and connect it to the hiring managers directly. LinkedIn is out there. I cannot emphasize how important it is. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Keep showcasing your skills to your connections, create connections, and connection invites and things like this. Can I get a job? Okay, I've answered that. I learned SQL, Power BI, including services. I use Premium account, Azure, Advanced Excel, Power Apps, Power Automate. So it is enough. In my view, it is more than enough, right? But it's all about, Amit, how much, again, in depth that you have gone. I have not used Azure Data Factory for sure, but Advanced Excel or Power BI and SQL, at least I can. Again, Power BI and Excel, I can speak a lot. SQL, I can speak mostly from the perspective of data fetching, right? So if you have reached to a level where your dashboards, your reports again is in alignment with how you see your, I don't know, mentor or your inspiration, right? The people who really inspire you when it comes to report creations or Power BI report creation, Power BI apps, automate. If you have reached to that level, I think that is good, or that is enough. But like I said earlier, these things are ever evolving. So if we think it about from that perspective, is it enough and I don't have to do anything? That's not the call. We have to continuously upgrade, right? Because in 2 years you will see that all of these things which you have learned have moved to a next level, because the this IT or this business intelligence is changing very very fast, and you have to continuously upgrade it. But it when it comes to having the portfolio of technologies, I think yes, that is enough. Okay. Q, how to improve myself and to get a job. Very very broad question. How to improve myself and how to get a job. Well, improve improving is something which is, and like I said earlier, it is an ongoing thing, right? But you need to set a goal as to whether you want to, let's say, if I take an analogy of running or improving the health, where if my weight is 100 kilograms, then I want, what is my first goal? I want to come down to 80, right? When I come down to 80, I want to come down to 50 or 60 or whatever is the realistic one, right? So I think you need to have a short goals, and you need to achieve that. That's the only way you can improve it. And when it comes to technologies and BI space, you start with what you already know. Take projects, see how well you are able to understand and create a final outcome. Is this outcome is similar to how experts are creating? If it is not, then you have a scope of improvement, and you need to improve by taking small steps, right? Get a job. I have answered it multiple times. Build your portfolio, showcase your portfolio, and keep applying for the job, and that would give you the job. Okay, I completed my portfolio, two Tableau project and two machine learning project. You need to go beyond that, my friend. Two projects will not going to help you in anything. This is very, very minimum. At least, I would say at least build minimum 10 projects over there from in different domain or different subject areas. Two will not going to help for sure. Chat GPT works fine if the technology creates threat to BI developer. Well, Chat GPT is coming like anything, right? We all are hearing it. It is it is not a threat to anyone. Any new technology is always considered as a threat, right? If I go back, if I go back to what I have learned uh, about computers. In 1992, it was introduced into the banking system, right? And it was considered as threat that the work which is being done by 100 people will now be done by only one computer. So where will these 100 people go, right? And we have seen that how this entire thing has changed completely. Now we need more and more people to sit on this computer and do the work, right? Similarly, ChatGPT is here to facilitate or to basically help the developers, but I don't see in any way any technology is a threat to basically developers. It is only about the time, right? Maybe in 6 months, maybe in 1 year, we will going to better understand as how this technology is going to help us back and will going to create more opportunities. Initially, any change, any new thing is always considered as threat, but my experience says that it's not a threat. It's just a matter of time that it will going to tell us, or we will get to know how well it is working with us and how it is speeding up the entire ecosystem and developing even more jobs. So I'm positive about that. I don't consider it as a threat for sure, and for sure not to BI developers. Today, I see some post about on the LinkedIn that I see the post on LinkedIn that AI is building this dashboard, AI is building that dashboard. To me, it's all funny, and reason for this is business situation. The way I see this, business situations are so customized that even though you can create a skeleton with the help of BI or a draft dashboard in the with the help of BI, it will take the developer, the subject matter expert, and finally the business to come to a conclusion. What do they really want to see, right? So that is why in my view, it will not going to threat. It's just a matter of time how it will going to help. I see that it is already helping. It is creating websites, right? It is creating apps. It is giving you the answers, but it's a threat. I don't think so. And the reason for this, well, when one thing is done, when you have created an initial app, is this something launchable? Is this something business can work with? No, right? There are so many things that goes inside into one final product, which basically involves the deep expertise of developers, subject matter expertise, and finally the business. That's why I think that it's not a threat at all. When you talked about outcomes, do you mean the impact of project? What if I just personally code project so they did not leave real impact in this case? How should I write the outcome? So outcome of a project is obviously about impact for sure, right? Do whatever analysis you want to do, right? But if it is not helping business, if it is not creating an impact to take a decision, then all our analysis is going to waste, irrespective of how jazzy or flashy it is, right? So as a developer or as a business analyst, it is important that you know what impact your report is making. That is by talking to the business stakeholders. I am seeing a good shift that whenever I'm working in a BI domain or this development domain as to dashboards and all, we always ask for the feedback. And now what I see is people come back and tell them, "Oh, this report has really helped us. This is how we have taken the decision, and we now want to continue with this report." So that is something we should always ask as what impact our report is creating. If it is not, then probably we are not doing something right, or we have not understand the requirement clearly, or business is not sure. Sometimes they are also not sure how to what do they really want. What is staging tables in BI, and please explain it with the example. Okay, so staging tables are basically, you can say, like middle layer, right? So what happens is you have a source, okay? From that source, you basically extract a data, right? Put it in a, and with the help of the ETL logic and all, right? You first put it into a middle table. When I say middle table, is a staging table. Now what happens is you have different requirements. For example, HR data coming from the HR system, right? From the HR system, through a ETL, you have, let's say, cleaned up, joined, whatever you want to do, has done, and put it in a staging table. Now, this staging table is basically is going to dictate that when you will going to take data from the staging table to a final table that various people will be using. What are all the data points that you need to take out? For example, you have the entire dump of data in this staging table, but let's say there is this department, sales department. They just need to know the salesperson and their respective joining date and all, but not about their salary. Let's say their only ask is that they need to know how many sales persons are working in their company. Then you have another department, maybe finance. They have a different requirement for the HR data and third data. So this middle table or staging table basically has worked as a dump, I would say, where everything is present. And before it is going into the final table, then it basically it's decided as to what outcome you need to take based on the requirement. You cannot give entire data to everyone, right? Otherwise, everyone will get to know what is your job, what is your salary, what is your personal contacts, and things like those. That's not it is. It is HR job is to make sure they have all the contacts, personal information, not various departments like marketing or sales and all of those guys. They should just know their respective people, and on that they should only know the limited information. Okay, so hopefully that should help. Can I create all the visualization just doing it in Python Jupyter Notebook, or I must have? No, you can create all the visualization and even advanced visualization in Python Jupyter Notebook, right? And even the dashboards, right? You can even create dashboards within the Jupyter Notebook. There are libraries today, even Matplotlib library, right? Matplotlib library is something which is helping you to create a skeleton of a dashboard like a environment, but again, it will be a static one, right? So you can basically create it. Also, there is this library which is Dash library is specifically used to create dashboards within Python. So that is something also you can use it. If your focus area is Python, I mean, keep it focus area of Python, very good, and create the dashboards out there. No problems on that side. Okay, I'll take that's pretty much about it. It's been more than 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. I hope this is my first session. So thank you so much. You are my first audience who have joined. I really liked all the questions. Hopefully, I'm able to share my experience. That's the whole idea. And that I'm able to share my experience. I wanted to do it from a quite long time. And fortunately, this wellness day, additional off which is given by my company, I thank it that I'm able to connect with you. Very productive session. I really liked, taking up all of this question. I learned also a lot as to what's going on, what are the different situations we are all in, and I am planning to keep it on a weekly basis. So hopefully, I'll try to do as much or answer as much as possible. With that, thank you so much for watching, and have a good rest of the Friday and weekend. Bye.